sure to be a tight affair.
Drogheda went into Friday night's game against Bray without a win in 6, but they are playing with the newly found fluency under interim manager Darius Kieran's, and at the Carlisle grounds it was Gavin Brennan who angled them in to an early advantage and a 1-0 lead. Bray, though, are battle-hardened and would have targeted something from this game. Adam Mitchell's effort was just off target. The hosts upped their tempo after that, and the Kellys, Jake and Graham, linked well, only for Alan McNally to upend the latter. He earned himself a booking to boot. A free kick in a dangerous position for Bray. Former Drogheda man David Cassidy with the dummy run. And so it was left to Jake Kelly with the accuracy to fire it into the back of the net and draw parity at 1-1. It took almost 20 minutes for the game's next opportunity to arrive, but it was well worth the wait as Gavin Holohan held off the challenge of 4 covering defenders to fire Drogheda back ahead once again. But Bray have their own skillful players too. A crafty back heel from Akinade picked out Jake Kelly. Goal side of Daire, Doyle and down he goes. Now, was there a push? Second viewing suggests, well, if there was, it was minimal. With a single goal advantage, Drogheda conceded ground and invited Bray onto them. Akinade and Graham Kelly linked well. Kelly's shot, though, just the wrong side of the sticks. Kieran's not best pleased with his troops. Second half, and Drogheda again on the front foot. Shane Grimes had plenty of time to pick out his man. With the cross, he did too, but the angle of the post denied Gary O'Neill. Encouraged now to express themselves, Drogheda were ever eager to impress, and Gavin Holohan wasn't too far away from a second of the night for himself. As Alan Matthews demanded more from the Wanderers, Drogheda too wanted more, and Holohan was the key man until Mitchell dived in. A second yellow meant red, and Mitchell was off. Bray's chances of getting something from this one nosedived. Holohan continued about his business, but couldn't work the keeper here. 10-man Wanderers never really gave up though, and Jake Kelly tried his luck here. He got into the box, lost his footing, but it ran kindly for Cassidy. He fired the cross to the back stick, but Adam Hanlon was denied, again by the upright. Hungry Drogheda seemed determined though to put 3 on the score sheet, and again Holohan was central to matters. He had time, and space indeed, to work the angle for himself here. He pulled it back, but Gary O'Neill pulled his shot and blazed it over. Drogheda did finally, however, achieve that third goal, and it came in injury time. A neat interchange between Brennan and O'Brien, and eventually Cathal Brady got to it and coolly slotted it over the keeper for a 3-1 win for Drogheda.
All in all, look, it's a good performance. It's a starting point, you know. We got a good performance against Sligo. We built on it tonight, and you know it's up to the players going forward to build on it again.
When we got back into the game at 1-1, felt right we could be okay here, push on, but section of the second goal, very soft from our point of view. We waltzed through some tackles very, very easily, finished well, mind you, but we didn't play well enough to take something from the game, so no excuses from that, and it's just one that we have to take and move on.
Well, Pat, that win halts Drogheda's awful run of form, but how important for Darius Kieran's as a new manager is it to get that first win under your belt?
Yeah, vital, like you say. They've had some horrible results this year, and you're going into your first game, you want a positive result so the players can get a lift and get some, you know, confidence going into the next one. So to go to Bray and win 3-1, it's a great result for them, and it gives, like I said, it gives the players a big lift now going into the games. And the other thing it does, if you look at the table, it actually brings them back close. I think they're only 3 points behind sixth, and they've had a horrible run of results, so it should give the players major confidence, and Darius as well. And he's been there before, he's managed the under-19s, he knows the players, he knows the setup, so it's a big result for him.
All right, Stewie, plenty of goals, perhaps once again characterised by some poor defending.
Yeah, that seems to be indicative of some of the goals we've seen lately, especially the other night. I mean, the first goal was effectively just a long punt, forward from Drogheda, comes from right full position. Gone to be the days when you had a centre half who would just go and bait that up the pitch. Gary O'Neill gets way too much room, and you can just see Gavin Brennan just a little bit of luck slots into the back of the net. This is a wonderful strike, but the wall breaks left and then right. It just shouldn't happen, you know. It's a great strike to Jake Kelly, in fairness to him. A wonderful little bit of individual skill. This guy was being really, really impressive, Gavin Holohan. On the night, he was excellent. He was central to everything that was really, really good, and that's a wonderful individual effort. And just a compound misery for Bray. Again, a little bit of fortune, but again, look, Drogheda, I mean, they've gotten a lot of bad bad luck over the last couple of months. It wasn't too long ago where they were in free fall. They weren't a million miles away from Maloney before the break, but they've managed to kind of settle things down. I think the board deserve a little bit of credit for sticking with Darius. They haven't kind of rushed into a decision. I think a lot of people were calling for bringing experience and they needed to shut up shop. And I felt it was probably a little bit early. You know, it was still plenty of football to be played. We're not halfway yet, and I just think they needed to be, needed to be energised and give a little bit of confidence back to the players again, and just kind of change the mind shift. And Darius has done that very, very well. Very important that they keep that run going now. You know, very, very important over the next couple of weeks that they pick up more points. And
what about Bray, Alan? Just 1 point in 6 games.
Yeah, Bray are struggling, and speaking of free fall, it's Bray's turn now, and as you say, 1 point out of the last 18 is simply not good enough. And in fairness to Alan Matthews, he was fairly honest in his assessment. He said they weren't good enough on the night. They're also in the low scores in the league. I think they've only scored 15 goals as well. So when you see some of the goals that Stewie's looked over there that they're conceding, and they're also not scoring at the other end, it definitely kind of points towards warning signals for them. And gone from a stage in the season as well where they had a really good start and they would have been looking at hopefully kind of pushing on up the table. They're all of a sudden in a position now where they're looking over their shoulder because Athlone and also UCD are kind of closing the gap on them.
Pat, what's the magic solution? What's the magic formula? How do they get out of that?
I think the key to it is there's a lot of young players at Bray. You know, Alan's brought in a lot of young players to start the season. He had a terrific start to the season, so they would have got confidence out of that, but maybe got too many points on the board too quickly. I think Alan's now got to sit them down and say, OK, we've got to refocus. We've got half the season left. We've got to pick up enough points to make sure we're not in a dogfight with Athlone or UCD. They've got good players there. I think they can play their way over.
I think that's the key to what Pat says. They have got a very young team. I went to see them play against Bows early in the season. No real pressure on them. Played 4-3-3, played really, really well on the night, kept the ball really, really well. Went to see them play against Bows a couple of weeks back. There was a lot of negativity in the crowd. You could hear the crowd getting on the young players' back, and they really, really heard it. I've seen a couple of players kind of looking towards the crowd as if to kind of, confrontationally. You don't need that. You need to get back to just playing, relaxing, going and playing and trying to get back up that table again.
There's also been a lot of upheaval at the club as well, Aidan, at the start of the season. Obviously, Pat Devlin had a staff there for practically almost 20 years, I would say. So Alan's come in, it's a whole new regime now, so they're probably just finding their feet. As Pat said, they started the season really well, and they probably started it too well almost, whereas now they have to kind of just find their feet, and I'm sure they'll be fine, but it's just, as I said, young players, sometimes it takes a lot more time than senior players.
So how important then is the likes of Jack Kelly, having him back and scoring goals? And perhaps if you were in that wall, it mightn't have gone through, but you would have never been in that. But how important is he?
I think it's very important because I have seen them and they have created a lot of chances in games. They've missed a lot of easy chances early on in the season, you know. So Kelly, 2 good goals last week against St. Pat's. Confidence, he's been out injured for his while, should get confidence out of that. But like I said, it's down to Alan now. He's got to just refocus the players, make sure they pick up enough points. You know, like Stewie says, the crowd have got to stick with them now because that expectancy from doing so early on might affect them now. So they've got to just make sure that they win enough games now to stay safe.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, lads. So with Drogheda picking up vital points, it was now up to Limerick and Bohemians to keep themselves away from the group at the bottom. While in the Midlands, Athlone's battle for survival saw them face an informed Derry City.